All right, today I'm going to talk about mental illness. And if I think all humans we're on some kind of a spectrum of something, right? We have our we have things we can see, things we can't see. We have tendencies. The best explanation I ever heard, not about mental illness, but about personalities was this one model that I read. It was like I forgot what it was. There was 4 basic models of personality: the king, the this, that, this, that, and so think of it as a square, and you're going clockwise on this square. So you're one of them, and when you're at your best, you lean towards being more of the one in front of you. When you're feeling good, and then when you're in your worst, you just lost your job, your girl just left you, you got something problem going on. You lean towards your darker side, okay, and use the darker side of the personality behind you. And if you use that chart, it's like amazing about understanding your personality. You're not like one personality. It's like your personality at your best, and your personality at your normal, and your personality at your worst, right? And I think I really have seen that I've helped a lot of people. This is partly why I know about this, because I'm not a doctor, but I have helped people in AA and NA for, since 1987, since May 23rd, 1987, right? I've been helping people. And when you go help somebody, you don't know their background. You're like going to the guy's house. You have no idea what's going on with the guy. And you get to these houses, and if you only do it a few times, you won't really know the spectrum. But for me, that is the kind of guy who likes to volunteer for these things, because I feel like it helps me to help others. So I always volunteer. So I'm the guy, not only am I around forever, but I'm always the guy who's like, I'm going to go out and help. And so it's called the 12-step call. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's not about this episode. But I got a lot of experience through that. A lot of experience. I met people, and then I slowly started to see something was weird about them. And then they would change, and I would hear, and I would listen, I would test, because I would see them over and over and over and over. But I never lived with them. I just kind of see them. And I could kind of chart where people are coming from. And I learned to be able to help people that had pretty big problems. Like they could be pretty fucked up. And I was somebody they trusted. This has happened to me a lot, where nobody else can help the guy. And for some reason, I'm very sensitive person to these kind of things. And I also don't judge. I think that's a lot of it. I don't judge people. So I come in, and for some reason, these guys that are really fucked up mentally, with really serious mental illness, they trust me. I earn their trust. And I don't really know how it works, because it's almost like an inexplicable thing. But I will just tell you that many times I've helped people who were going to do themselves in. They were going to do this. And just by being around them, they totally changed and decided not to do whatever it was. So there's tons of people that call me every year and say, you saved my life, right? So anyway, that's I'm not a doctor, but I gotta say, this is one of my, I don't know why I'm able to do this. I'm a badass. I'm hard on people. Okay. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a softie. So I'll give you one example. And we're going to talk about women and mental illness and how that affects you, because it's very different for women, because believe all women, because they're trusted. Okay. So it's super important. So anyway, I kind of started to understand this, and I realized one day that there's a lot of people who pretend they have mental illness. Now they might have a little bit, okay, but they pretend like it is to scare you. A lot of people like to scare you, to intimidate you. So they'll come up to you, and they know that they're acting kind of crazy, right? And they'll just kind of come up to you, and then it's very similar to drug dealers, actually, because drug dealers, if you've ever had a drug problem, and I did when I was 20 years old, you go to dealers, and one of their job is to make you feel that they could do anything at any time, and so that you won't screw them over, you won't rob them. So that guy Tuco in Breaking Bad is a perfect example of that. So Tuco puts on this crazy thing, and everybody that watches the show thinks he's crazy, right? He's this maniac. But I know better. It's all an act. He's putting it on in order to scare the shit out of you so that you never fuck that guy over. Like, because you know that he is absolutely unpredictable, right? And at the same time, of course, he's very, very violent and has a lot of money and guys working for him. So he is scary, but at the same time, scary people don't scare me the same way they scare other people because of my background, which I will talk about one day. But I got to wait for some people to pass away. So anyway, I dealt with stuff when I was very young. Okay, so maybe that was like that might have been actually the main reason why I understand this stuff. It's just from own experience of dealing with people. And so anyway, there was a woman and she was very odd. And I already didn't trust her because she came to, this is going to sound like it's about the programmer A, or it's not, but it's just the examples here. She went to meetings, right? And so I would see her, and she wasn't an English speaker. So I always don't trust people who, if we're in the country and they don't go to meetings where their native language is spoken, they're always hiding something. So if I only, because I speak Japanese and Chinese, if I only go to meetings in Japanese and Chinese all the time, I'm running from something. I don't want people to really understand me. I kind of want to keep something different, and I want my, what do you call it? My differentness, to kind of like cover up so I don't have to face myself as deeply. Whereas somebody from my culture, my language, they'll look at me and say, you're full of shit. You're absolutely full of shit.
They'll see right through you.
Yeah, they'll see right through you, right? Yeah. And so these people that go to meetings that don't, like we're in the country, right? Let's just say it's Spanish. And it's a Spanish-speaking country. And then they're going to English, and they don't speak English very well. There's a lot of these people, I've noticed. And what they're doing is hiding. And they love it because everybody greets them very warmly. All the English speakers are like, oh, this is great. We have a local coming now. We can help, the locals. But the truth is, they need help from other locals who can see through their bullshit, who know their fucking story, who will not take any crap and will call them on their stuff, right? Otherwise, they never change. They'll just continue. It's like a huge game they're playing on people to not face themselves. And I think one of the key things in change is that you face yourself, right? No matter how fucked up you are, you just face it. You say, okay, and you accept the reality of who you are and what you're doing, right? And then you have a starting point. And that's a beautiful place to start, is to say, I am a mess and I don't know what to do, right? It's a beautiful place to start. It's the only place to start for real change, deep, deep change, right? So anyway, so this woman was kind of like, I saw her playing her games on people. I would watch her. I immediately knew, and it was funny. One time we were at this meeting, and she was talking, and she said, the elders in my culture, whatever, and she starts talking like this. And the thing is, we're not in a country with elders. Like the country is not, it's not some tribe in Peru or something, right? This is like a modern country. There's old people, but they're not like respected and looked up. We're not around a fire.
There's not a town shaman.
We're not around a campfire all the time. This is like some made up bullshit that she made her to make herself woo woo, and that she knew Westerners would buy. So I'm listening to that, and I was like, oh, I had enough of this bitch. So I was like, okay, I just knew right away, okay, this lady. So anyway, so then we were down at this camp. We were doing a weekend camp thing. And she came up to me, and we were just there for like several days. And she came up to me, she started spouting this bullshit at me. And her name was Mary. I said, Mary? I looked at her very seriously. I just looked her right in the face, like I just got right in her face. I said, Mary? I'm looking at Fox now. Yes. I said, I know you're crazy. I looked at her super serious. And she looks at me like the most serious look I've ever seen. And she nodded her head. I said, look, I know you're crazy, but I also know you can control it. Don't fuck with me. Never fuck with me. Okay? You can fuck with other people, but don't fuck with me. And that was it. And she nodded her head. And I knew she understood. And that woman never pulled any bullshit on me ever again. And I would see her all the time. And she would never. She knew I had called her. She was making it all up. She was playing some kind of fucked up game. And there's a lot of fucked up games humans play. Now, she probably had some problems. And, you know, if you ever read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, there's a woman in there who she pretends like she's she's feeble, she can't walk, she needs someone to take care of her. And her mother dutifully takes care of her. And then the day the mother dies, she gets up and just goes and lives her life. After she totally ruined her mother's life. And her mother believed that she had to do this for her child till the day she died. She ground her mother into the dirt for no reason.
That's like punishment of some sort.
Yeah, just evil as fuck, right?
Yeah.
And the mother never knew. So the mother died happily thinking she did her best. And she was probably very, very worried about how her daughter was going to do without her, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a form of very fucked up game that people play. So keep in mind that when you think about these things, it's not just simply he's got a chemical imbalance, he needs some kind of drug that Pfizer made up, and then everything's going to be fixed. No, there's a lot of fucked up shit, and you got to understand all this stuff in order to, I think, to navigate the world. I think it's very important. The more you know, the better you're off, right? So I was thinking about women on this one. So when we originally started talking, so basically, like what was I saying before? Was I saying anything? Can you remember?
Well, we started by talking about how, like a lot of women, they don't have a truly defined or clear sense of danger, and how they can just see everybody as a threat, and which then led into the type of personalities that feels like there's somebody always after them, and people have to get them, and they're like a targeted person, or there's something special, and then that brought into this.
Right, exactly. Oh, thanks for sharing that. That's great. Yeah, no. So the thing is, whenever, and you know this just from watching people. So whenever there is a crazy idea out there, okay. So, and you could see this recently with the assassination attempts on the president, when there was a narrative going around that, you know, this person is a threat to our country and our freedoms, and he needs to be, it's better if he's not here. You know, there was all these, the news was saying this, everybody was saying this. Now, normal people, healthy people, who are in their best self, they're not going to respond to this. But the people that are like in those four personalities, they're leaning towards their dark side, and, you know, they don't have much to live for. They don't have much going on. There's always, anytime you spread a narrative like that, it is very, very dangerous, because there's always somebody who will take action and who will do that thing. Now, I'm not saying, like, I'm not making any kind of statement about what we should do to people or what people should do. I'm just saying a fact, is that if you spread a narrative, a very extreme narrative, that anybody, and we saw this with Christianity back in the day, you saw this with Islam, you saw this with so many revolutions. If anybody didn't believe this, you know, they needed to be, you know, eliminated, and, you know, if you didn't agree to this thing, like, and so then there was always people like in Cambodia during Pol Pot's reign, you know, there was people who fully believed it, and they were just willing to, like, do whatever because it needed to be done. You know, it's just got to be done. You know, and so I'm the only one who can do it, kind of thing, right? And so they go down that road, right? And so how does that affect women? Here's the thing, is that women, if you look just clinically, there's more mental illness with women than men. I mean, there's much more. It's a much higher rate of mental illness. There's a much higher rate of depression. There's a much higher rate of psychological drugs with women. And I
think there's a lot of like antisocial personality disorders that women have, but because of society's bias and kind of believe all women and that women are these innocent things, it's like never talked about and it's overlooked. And that's actually like really dangerous, because there's this idea that men are the villains and can do all these bad things and be psychopaths, but not women. So it goes almost like unnoticed or overlooked. So then it's even more sinister when it comes up, because you're kind of mentally and emotionally not ready for it, not expecting it.
Right, and it's also very common too.
Like they can hide it easier.
Right. Oh, sure. And it's very common. And the thing is as a man, you're wondering like, hey, how can I improve my life? One way you can improve your life is by not letting your life be destroyed. So it's not about something good you can do for good reasons, but it's knowing, like for example, with car crashes, nobody likes a car crash, but you want to survive a car crash, right? You don't want to be a guy who doesn't have a seatbelt on, goes off a cliff. If you have, like there's things you can do. So this is kind of an episode to give you some understanding and tools so that as you meet people, because you never know who you're going to meet. You never know what situation you're going to be in. And if you understand the dark side or these kind of like issues that people have, you will be able to make a wiser decision, right, about it. And you might make some bad decisions, but then later you'll learn from that because you're starting to understand more. So that's kind of my goal of this episode, is to protect you. It's not to teach the world. It's so that you, when you start to feel something, and you'll also doubt yourself. Because, like I said, when I first heard that guy who was saying things that were kind of like off, my thing went off in my mind, like maybe this guy's one of these guys. But he might not be, because it could be. But at the same time, he might not be. So I didn't be like, oh, I know 100%, this is the way this guy is. No, it was just like I had a red flag, and I need several red flags before I make a decision, right? But I just thought, okay, this is a red flag. I don't want to give too specifically what he said, just in case somebody somehow sent him this episode. I just don't want, but basically, like, we have issues, right? Humans. And we all have them, okay? Like, that's the thing. And I'm just going to say here to anybody with a mental illness, is that it is not hopeless. You can get control of yourself. People always did it in the past, right? And you can do it today. Like, there is hope. Like, there is hope for people, because if you have something and you understand it, you will learn. It's kind of like, and this is talking like directly to the guy too, is like, for example, I have a back injury, right? Pretty serious back injury. But I understand the back injury really well. So last time I got injured, I couldn't walk, I couldn't crawl. I had to like lay on my stomach like an animal with no legs and then kind of slide. That's all I could do, right? Last time it happened when I was in Huikwang. But I also understood my issue, and I was around a pool at my apartment, and all the cleaning ladies were like calling the ambulance, and I said, do not call the ambulance. I know what this is. It will get better. I just need time. And to their credit, they knew me and they trusted me because I was always out there doing yoga and positive, and so they would look to me and they're like, okay, this guy's not like, he's not a weirdo. He's not on drugs. He's just like, he's got some issue and he understands it. And I said, look, and then to their credit, they didn't do anything. And then I went up in my room. I told the guy that was with me, Joel, I said, look, get me some big bottles to piss in. Get me some big things of water. Go out and do your thing today, but bring back some food. And I'm just going to stay here on the bed. I can't move today. And I knew that after 2 or 3 days, that swelling, I had re-injured, I had re-ruptured my back. So I knew that the swelling would go down, the angry swelling, and then I would be able to move again. So I knew that. So I just took time. I didn't have any medication, but I knew it would go away if I did not be constantly stressing it, right? And so I just laid in bed for 2 days, and then after 2 days, I started to feel, last time it was 3 days, I just started to feel, okay, I could move again. I stood up, and I was normal again. So I knew my injury. So to anybody who has, some level of mental illness, you just have to know your injury, basically. That's important, is that know your injury, understand your injury. Don't be afraid of your injury. Like, whatever you have going on is what you got going on. And you have a better self, worse self. And I think also you have I think for most people, there's a post-recovery time too, where you actually can get pretty damn normal. I know Mary, ever since then, she looked at me like totally different than anybody else. Because I called her right. I called her 100% right. And she acted absolutely normal with me. And it was, I tell you, it was the strangest thing. This is not related, but it's very unusual. So this is crazy. Okay, this is like the craziest coincidence. Right after I told her that, she was like, we were back in Tokyo from the campsite, and we're kind of cruising around. And I was driving my, I had a like a Honda SUV, and I'm cruising through Roppongi Crossing, right? And just jamming to catch the light because it was turning yellow. And it was like kind of a huge, if you've ever been to Roppongi Crossing, it's a huge crossing, right? And it's kind of sketchy, but nobody was crossing. And it was like, I was in the yellow, I was totally legal, but I wanted to get at least to the middle of the intersection before it turned red. And in Japan, that's cool. Anyway, so I come jamming in, and all of a sudden, like, who jumps in front of me but Mary, out of nowhere. She was crossing. She just never had her wits about her. She's crossing the road on it, like she's the only one. There's like, this is a super busy intersection, like Times Square, and nobody else is stupid enough to walk across. She's like walking in the middle of this huge intersection.
Oh no, I hope someone doesn't hit me.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck she was thinking. But I just slammed on the brakes, and then she saw it was me, and I saw it was her. And I was just like, we both looked at each other like, holy shit. Like, this is crazy. Because if I just wouldn't have hit my brakes, I would have hit her. If I wouldn't have like stopped like very, very fast, right? It was almost like she was trying to do it. Like, I don't know. But I tell you something about that experience made us closer. And she was always very nice and normal with me after that. And I noticed that whenever I was around, she started to get better. Wow. Yeah, she did. She got a lot better when she was in my presence. Because she knew that some people didn't buy her shtick, basically. That's what I think. Somebody didn't buy her shtick. Somebody won't put up with her shit. And I think that's part, if you want to help people with mental illness, you also have to be able to not put up with their shit. And just say, look, like this, I think for me, because I don't have the fear mechanism, because I learned to turn it off when I was a kid, I'm not scared of people. So I don't have the usual fear that most people have. Like, I feel like I can handle myself. Even, in a war situation, being shot at, I feel like I can handle my situation. Somebody's trying to poison me. Like, I feel like I'll figure it out. Like, I'll somehow make it through anything because of my own experiences. I fall off a cliff, I think, well, I'll probably jellyfish down. It's happened a couple of times. And other people die at the same place, but I survived. So I have this like strange confidence in myself from experience. So when I'm with a crazy person, it doesn't scare me. And I think people that are, I just use the term crazy because it's a convenient word. They understand that. I'm not intimidated by someone's craziness. I just am not. I just don't. I see it, right? And I don't like it. I don't like they're playing some game on me. And I want to help them, so I'm always there at some level. But if it's too much or if it's too crazy, it's like, no. And if you ever do have a crazy person hunting you down, I'll tell you something. There is a one surefire way to finish it. I'm not going to say it here, but I will say it in Unblackmailable. It's nothing illegal, nothing like that. It's not anything. It's just a way to handle it. And believe me, it is very powerful. Very, very powerful. Tried and tested by yours truly. That will cause people, partly because, like I say, they're not as crazy as they think. And when you really call them on it, they realize they're full of shit too. And they back off because they realize. I mean, the best example was Richard Bandler. If you look at the psychologist, Richard Bandler, him and Virginia Satir and some other absolute geniuses created NLP, right? NLP and neuralistic programming. And Bandler understood this stuff. He would be listening to this going, if he's alive, I would love if he heard it. Because he would be like, oh yeah, 100%. So here's what Bandler did. And this is partly what gave me ideas. Like, I studied Richard Bandler and I studied the way he thought. And so I guess I should give more credit to him because I think I studied him afterwards, actually. I first understood it And then I studied him, and I was interested because I was like, whoa, this guy's talking about stuff
You
like
learned
that.
it through direct experience.
I learned it, yeah.
And then when you listen to a total genius pro on it, you're like, it makes total sense.
Right.
Like it all comes together.
The best story about Bandler, I think one of the best stories. Now, I know he had some problems, and I know there's a huge scandal he's involved in, but the people are complicated, right? So here's the classic one. So he was a psychologist to go to talk to crazy people in the insane asylum, like the full-on insane asylum. So he gets there, and the guy, they said, okay, so who should I talk to today? He said, okay, there's the guy in the padded room.
I think they call him Hannibal.
No, he thinks he's Jesus.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so he goes, okay,
Even better.
all right. So he goes in there, and he goes in the room, and this is a true story, and this will teach you a lot. The story is an amazing story. It really just basically I could end on this story because it's so great. But he goes in, he just very natural comes in. He's like, hey, I heard you're Jesus, nice to meet you, Jesus, And the guy said, yes, I'm Jesus, nice to bless you, my son, or something, right? And then he was like, oh, cool. And then he goes, I got to go get some stuff. I'll be right back. So then the guy's like, kind of, you're like, there is a part of mental illness that likes to be the center of attention.
Yeah.
Like you're in there and some guy's like talking to you about it and you're like, he's allowing you to say yours. He's not saying, he's just like listening to you. It's like, there's a powerful, I'm the center of the universe that happens with people with mental illness where they're grandstanding on it, right? Anyway, he just leaves. So he comes back and he's got these big 4x4s and a saw and some nails and stuff. So he brings them into the room. And the guy said, he starts to get nervous. He starts walking around, right? And he's like, so what are you doing? And he goes, oh, nothing. I just never mind me, talk about whatever you want to talk about. So he starts sawing the thing, right? So he gets a little piece and then a long piece, right? And then he starts hammering the nails hammering it together, right? And the guy's like, what are you doing? Are you like, what are you making? That looks like a cross, And he's, don't worry about it. And just, I know all about you, so it's all good, And he is like, he's got these huge nails, right? Like railroad ties, right? And so he's like hammering this thing together. And the guy starts getting more and more nervous. So finally he like starts pounding on, there's like a little window in the door. And he's like, let me out. This guy's crazy. He thinks I'm Jesus. And then the guy went out and basically was cured, right? And yeah, because he was going to nail him to the cross, right? Because he's like, well, fuck. I mean, you're Jesus. Like, you should be happy about this.
Yeah, you'll rise up again in 3 days, baby.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Jesus has a very specific, from his Father, right? He had a very specific path that he chose. And he was scared of the path. If you read the story of Jesus, and again, this is great. If you not religious like I'm not, it's still great human stories and lessons, right? Wonderful lessons in the Bible. Yeah. And so basically he came down to earth and his job was to be basically have the crowds kill him and then to accept the sins of the world, right? And to be able to forgive people, right? So his job was to go on the cross. So anybody who was Jesus would be very happy to go on the cross. Because if they didn't, then they're fucked, right? Because they're nothing. Jesus, he wept in the Garden of Gethsemane. He's like, please, if there's any way you can take this away, if there's any other way I can do this, like, let me do that. And in the story, his father's like, no, this is the only way. You have to die for this. You have to because he was 100% in the Bible, right? He was 100% man, 100% God. And so he had to accept death as a man in order to fulfill his role in the Trinity and everything, right? So anyway, so like you should be happy. Like of course you're sad because you're going to be gone, but you're happy because this is your ultimate, like this is where the power comes from, is being able to forgive people's sins. If he didn't die, then he couldn't do anything, right? Yeah. He had to do this. So actually what Richard did was very genius, It's like, in a sense, he would be sad, but he would be happy, right? And the guy just like, he's like, fuck, I'm not Jesus. And then he was cured of it, right? Is because Richard basically, yeah, who knows, man? If you read Richard Bandler's, like, maybe he would have fucking nailed him on that cross. That guy was pretty fucking crazy. Oh yeah, you gotta read the stories about him and this prostitute. Yeah. So anyway, but I love that story because I think sometimes we need to be called on our shit. We need other people in our lives that are not scared of us, that can't be intimidated. And this is when we have problems, right? And they can come in there and help. But it's like a rough form of help because most people just buy it or are scared away and they just basically let you be alone. They just let you be alone in your own insanity. And of course, those type of people encourage you to go deeper into it because your power is in doing this to them. And now they don't bother you. And now everybody knows you're this and they're scared of you. And you've got all this power in your own insane vortex of imagination, right? And I think a lot of it is realizing that you do have control of your life. You do have control of your brain, right?
100%.
You're responsible. That's why I love Wyatt Woodsmall. And I read that he's a fucking fan of Ronin Man, which is amazing to me. Like, that is a huge compliment because I love Wyatt Woods. I cannot believe he listens to my stuff. Like, to me, it just blows my mind. Like, what are the odds? Because I've watched all of Wyatt Woodsmall's stuff, right? Studied it. And one of the things he says is you're responsible for your emotions, which is even deeper than your mental illness. Like, you're responsible for your emotions. And he teaches you how to take control of your emotions are not just something that come over you like some pussy who's just pushed around by the world. You decide how you're going to feel about life and how you're going to live. He is really that guy is amazing. Like, Wyatt Woodsmall is amazing. And his research and the way he tells stories, the way that he communicates this to people is like fascinating. That's why I listen to all his stuff. Like, his series are usually 40 hours long, audio.
Wow.
Yeah, and video. And I watched all of them over and over and over because I was very fascinated with the guy. And I just thought he had so much wisdom to share. And so, I say to anybody here who has either a friend with mental illness, I hope that something I said will lead to some kind of realization for you. I don't want to tell you what realization you're going to have or what you're going to do. But you don't need to be afraid of life. That's an emotion. You don't need to be afraid. And you don't need to, what happens when you're afraid? You play along. Because you think, oh, something could happen. I don't want to go there. I'm the type of person that goes there, right? I go into the lion's den. And because of that, it a wonderful value for me because I learn more about human nature each time I go in, right? I learn one more lesson about the way the mind works just from being in that presence, right? And I like people that have different ways of thinking, and I like, some people will say there is some really paranoid people who think it's red pill. They think that is red pill, is that you don't trust anything and nothing is real and everybody's lying to you. But it's a fine line, red pill, because red pill is when you see the world as it is. But how do you see the world as it is when you're going down that dark road of your worst self, right? How is that helping you to see the world? It's not, right? It's not helping you. And you don't have to go down that road. You can, and you're the only guy who can do it, take control of your life and decide that you're going to let these games go. You're just tired of these games. They're boring games. You know how they play out. You've done them a million times. You've got over the power of making people feel scared, and you realize that, that is a repetitive zero-sum game that I don't want to play anymore. I just don't want to play that anymore. I just don't. I've played that. I know the outcome of the game. I know every feeling in the game, but I no longer find it interesting. Yeah, I'm just not interested in that anymore. And it's kind of like the way I look at alcohol. I drank a lot of booze, right? And I had every kind of booze. I had every kind of situation. I'm good with women when I'm sober, but when I go out drinking, I come home with a woman, like I never know her name in the morning. Like I come home with a woman like all the time. I don't even know where they're from. I'll go into a blackout with one girl making out, fingering her on a dance floor, whatever, and I'll wake up in the morning with a totally different person. And I'm like frantically looking for her fucking ID so I'll know her name, right? Before she asks me, I'm trying to find out her name. Because
your name's Baby.
Yeah, and I had this thing where there was something in me that enjoyed, of course, my parents and my family, and, genetically, I there's a lot of alcohols in my family and everything. And like I shouldn't say my parents, not my mom, but I had a predilection for it. But also I went down that road and I realized like at some point is that every kind of goodness that I could get from drinking, for me, I've already done. Like it's not that complicated. Like it's not that fun. It's only the unknowns when you're young and it's exciting and, like coming home with girls, like, and the smell of pussy in the room, like, it was pretty exciting. Like, I didn't know who they were, and we had great sex. They didn't know, they knew me because I had been telling them, but they would know my name and stuff. And a lot of times I ended up dating them and stuff, and, it was like, then nothing, I was never a mean drunk. I was a lover, not a fighter. Like, I was always, like, and thank God for that one, because you can't control that. Some people are mean drunks. I was
comes out or whatever comes out.
I don't know what it is, but it's scary as hell because you can't control it. But for me, I was a lover, so the girls were never angry at me. They were always like sad that I didn't remember their name or something. It was always kind of like they really. It was almost like they were in love with me already, and like they're sad that I didn't know, and they had to forgive that because it's like they had this connection last night, and we did something fun, like maybe we had sex on a building or. Like I drove him home and everything. Like I was like, I was like totally awake, but I was like in a blackout, right? And so then and A didn't teach me this, but I really realized that when you want to quit something, you need like 100 different tricks, right? But my favorite trick was the real trick for me. Is it every little kind of interesting thing about, drinking alcohol had been done for me. Like I had already done it all. But I hadn't done everything in life. There was so much more to do. Painting, travel. I hadn't really traveled right. And I hadn't done a lot of stuff. And I realized, man, there's a lot out there in life. And this one, it has me by the balls. But two, it's a one-trick pony or it's a few-trick pony. It's like, it's not like a never-ending ecstasy drink. You know what I mean? It's quite a dull, boring. It becomes very predictable and very not interesting in the end when you do it a lot, right? And I realized I had totally used up my fun with this one. And I was like, you know what? I want to go and explore a new season of my life. And that was like something I could hang my hat on. And it made me where I didn't even like crave it or anything. I was just kind of like, I still go to meetings and stuff, but I mean, this was my little thing I did in my mind. And sometimes you have to, when I'm talking about outsmarting someone else's mind, you're outsmarting your own mind, right? That's really what I'm talking about, is you are doing this to yourself. If you can help another person on the outside, that's great, but you are full of shit too, right? You are playing some games too. And you have to say, wait, like I keep playing this game and this game is boring. Like I'm tired of this game where I'm with somebody and I brag about the same stories, or I pretend like I know everything about this one thing. Or I talk about, there's so many games that humans play. There's so many games we play. And in order to let them go, you have to see the lameness in it, admit, laugh at yourself, right? That I'm doing this stupid fucking game. Why am I doing this? Is this still fun for me? Am I still enjoying this stupid fucking thing that drives people away. Like, is this still like, why did I enjoy this? Well, I enjoyed it because it made me feel powerful. You have to be honest, like super honest with yourself. And then just say, yeah, do I still need those things? Not really. Like, I'm done with those things. I've gotten enough. you do get embarrassed too, because these are really stupid games. Like they say, fuck around and find out. Like, you're like fucking around and finding out on something every day, and you're like not finding out. Because the only way you can find out is if you face yourself, right?
I keep fucking around, but I haven't found out anything.
Yeah. Like the way you find out is by having no friends. So if you have no friends, you're finding out that the games you're playing are not working, right? So you have to look very honestly at the outcome of your life in order to see the inner problems that you might have. Because if people are not calling you, if your friends are not excited to see you, if your phone doesn't ring, if your children don't message you, if there are real experiences you'll be having if you're doing the right thing in life. And if you're not, you're like, for example, you're sitting alone drinking in your living room, you are, unfortunately, what you're going to find out is a very bad thing, right? You don't deserve that, basically. Like, you don't deserve the ultimate of the game you're playing. Like, whatever game that is, it's like you don't really deserve the final. You have a chance to change before you reach that final space, that final darkness that we saw with the people who, they went and tried to...
If you go all the way to game over.
Yeah, they tried to assassinate Trump. They got shot in the head. Like, It's like over, right? It's like you don't deserve that, really. You just need to get control of shit. You need to be honest with yourself. You need to say, wait, I'm doing this stupid thing. Call on yourself. Like, I play this stupid fucking game over and over, and I don't know why I do it. It's like from childhood or something. I'll just say one last thing I had when I was little. When I moved from Arizona to California, my family, in '74, I felt very insecure in California because they had more money, they dressed cool, they played team sports. In the desert, there's no teams because there wasn't many people. So you just did things by yourself. And so I never played any team sports. And also I was younger too. I was quite young. But still, there was other kids doing team sports in California at that age. But it wasn't organized. We were out there in our whole trailer park. There was only a few other kids. There was like me and my friend Morgan, and we would hang out. We reconnected recently, which is so cool. My friend from third grade, up to third grade. Yeah. He gave me great advice. And if you go back and watch that episode when we were in Tucson, climbing through the all the cactus and stuff, he told me that walking route, because I wanted the best cactus, trail to hike. Because I grew up with cactus. I'm like, I want to see the good ones, And he's like, I know the one. He told me exactly where to go. And it was awesome. But, so I got to California and I felt very insecure. It was partly, I had a very weird friend at the time. And he would put down anybody who wasn't from California, from that town. And it's nothing to do with California. People like this. Like, you're not from around these parts. You don't know shit.
Your kind isn't welcome around here.
Yeah, exactly. And this could be in any city in the world. But anyway, where I was, it was there too. And this guy was really bad at it. And he would constantly remind me that he was born there. Like, that's the hospital I was born at. And it made me feel really low. Because I really felt like at the time I was in third grade, fourth grade, I felt like he was right. Like, this was a cooler place. Like, I am a fucking retard. Like, I'm from this fucking backwards place. Like, my whole life sucks. I knew, like, my dad drinks all the time. Like, I had a lot of shit. Like, we had no money. We lived in a trailer. He lived in a nice house with an ocean view. Like, I just felt like my life was shit. Everything I had been through was shit. I was shit. And so I needed something. And so I started to make up stories of what I did in Arizona. And I would tell these stories. And it was all shit, right? So I got a brother, right? So he would hear these stories. And he would know they're not true. But my brother, he didn't really say much. Yeah, I think he knew too, because we both felt kind of insecure. but he just kind of like, he knew. So I'd tell these stories. And then one day, I think it was my brother said, something like, those stories, they're not true. You should stop saying those. Or something like that. And it was like, man, it hits your ego. Because my whole kind of all I had inside of me was these stories, right? And when my brother said that, it was really devastating because I knew my brother knew all my friends. So if I was saying these stories, he was going to be in the background hearing them because we'd come and play at the house, right? So I kind of knew how the jig was up on these stories. So that helped me to change too. It's like partly if you can keep doing it, you do sometimes. But you need a way to trap yourself. And I knew I didn't want to lose the respect of my brother. You know what I mean? I'm like, no, I can't lose that. I got to stop these stories. It's hard. It's fucking hard, right? And I was able to say, you know what? I'm not going to tell these stories anymore. And then I would tell them once in a while. Like, let's say I said them every week before. Now, maybe every 6 months, one would come out. But at the time I remembered, I haven't said these stories for a long time, right? And then I would say, well, I can just stop now. I wouldn't just tell all of them. I'd just tell one. Honestly, I don't even remember what they were now because it was so long ago. But there's some kind of stories of glory that weren't true, right? And so I was like, okay, fuck. And then I feel bad that I said one again, but I was like, you know what? I like the feeling of me when I'm not doing that. So, and that guy doesn't know. He believes the story. So it's fine, but I'm just going to back out of this one. Yeah, I'm not gonna double down on this one. Slowly, I'm gonna back out. Because you got to give yourself a break too. You're like, your ego is sensitive, right? Like, I didn't tell them, I'm doing this.
You don't want to get unmasked like Scooby-Doo in front of everybody.
Yeah, these meddling kids and this stupid dog.
You can't save face from that. But if you can, your brother allowed you to just like choose. Because you could have gone the other way. True. You could have said, I'm nothing with, like, I got to do this.
No, he doesn't remember. He was too young. Because he was younger than me,
You realize, like, he's right. I'm full of shit. And
these are stupid.
Eventually, someone's going to call me out on it. So it's better to...
And also, I was starting to call myself out once he said that. So we all have this bullshit, these games we play. They could be from childhood. They could be recent, where you lie... about your height, or you lie about college degree, or you exaggerate this or that. And I think the thing about the culture, I would say the Ronin man culture, is that it's okay here to say, like, for example, to come to a summit and say, you guys, last time I was here, I was full of shit. I lied about everything. I said this, but I was misrepresenting myself. So let me tell you guys the truth. It's okay. Like, it's okay to come to a summit and just be brutally honest, and no one's going to laugh, no one's going to say anything, because that's kind of how recovery works, is that it's a process. It's a very difficult, painful, beautiful, life-changing process. So you can't have people hammering on you, and that's partly why people trust me, because I don't hammer on them, because I know what it's like to be on the other side of these games, right? And so everybody's got a different kind of game, and they're very complex, right? So some of them are more serious than others. Some of them are darker than others. But I believe at this stage, there's very few people that are completely sold on these things. They always kind of know. They kind of know. Don't you kind of know, like, a lot of stuff? Like, I'll just say this about, like, drinking, right? I remember when I would drink and use drugs when I was young, and I would be like, yeah, we were so fucked up, we didn't remember this. But unless I was in a blackout, I always knew it was kind of boring and stupid what we're doing. Like, there was part of me that just knew. Because I would look around the room, and we'd be in, like, somebody's garage drinking. And there was part of me that said, this is pathetic. Like, we could be out there meeting girls, we could be on the beach, we could be doing something cool, but we're all just sitting around drinking cheap beer and pretending like everything we're saying is funny. Like, it's really, like, kind of pathetic what we're doing. There was a part of me that always knew. I always knew. I was like, this is not my best self. Because I knew I needed to get that booze in my stomach. Like, I needed more booze to get over the insecurity, over all these feelings that come up. right? And the booze helped me to get over that. So once I had a few beers in me, then I wouldn't think so deeply about this stuff. And I'd be like, we had a great time last night. But there was always a moment I look at some cheap beer and like the shitty room we're in, I'm like, this is not how we're presenting it to people. Like, this is pretty lame. Like, we might get lucky and do something cool tonight, but straight up, this is not James Bond here. We're not like James Bond sitting in the garage here. You know, it's just not. So I think that's part of it too, is when you have, you know, some kind of ability to see yourself and to overcome it. And if you can do this for yourself, I believe, and this is just my belief as a non-professional, is that you will be given the gift of being able to help others because you have faced yourself. See, why do you have the guts to say these things? It's because I faced my own bullshit. And so I'm like, yeah, I did that too. I did stuff like that. Now, it wasn't exactly, like I said, the levels of things. And there are, you know, some people, I will say with mental illness, some people are so bad that I think there is a level, and in fact, I believe that there's a level, like I said, it's on a scale. There's people on such the red line extreme end of a mental illness that none of this applies to them. You know, they pretty much need to be locked up. Like, there is no hope in them for them. There is no help in them. They're a danger to society, and they got to be locked up or death row. Like, there are people who are on that road. And so if you're like that, I really hope you turn yourself in. Like, if you are at that level, you know, really turn yourself in, because just for the good of the world, like, don't have that on your fucking conscience. You know, just turn yourself in. Let somebody else stop you if you can't stop yourself.
Yeah, if you get past the point of no return.
Yeah, yeah.
But before you get there, you can 100% turn yourself around.
Yeah, and I don't think it's I don't think it's a continuum of getting down there. I think some people have more, like, there's more fucked up in the brain. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying everybody would reach that. No, I'm saying some people truly live in a terrifying world in their own head, like just a terrible. And now I will tell you this: there is a relief for a lot of criminals when they are finally caught. Go watch any interviews of people. It's like, they finally stopped me. I couldn't stop myself. So sometimes the incarceration, the judicial system can stop you from doing things that you want to stop, but you're not capable of stopping. And there's something beautiful in that too. So if you recognize this type of thing, which I would say would be one in, I don't even know how many million, but it's very rare, then I would say take this whole thing as lessons about others and take yourself even more seriously. Find a way to stop yourself, you know, by turning yourself in or whatever, because I don't look down on you for whatever you're born with. I don't. You're born with what you're born with. We live with what we live, you know, and life can be good even in prison. There is a beautiful lack of worry about bills and a continuity and a predictableness that is very healthy, actually. Free doctors, you know, and there's many people who actually like the predictability of prison. Like, it's not like the end of the world for a lot of people. They actually like the fact that they're not able to do what they would do. They're able to make friends. They don't have to worry about bills. They don't have to worry about paying rent. You know, it's pretty much covered for you. It's accepting that this is a better outcome than whatever you would have planned for those people on the very extremes. You know, and I know in Japan, like, a lot of old people are stealing things to go to jail so they can get medical care and stuff, right? Extremely poor, indigent older people are deliberately getting arrested to go to prison so they don't have to worry about rent and all the issues that they have, right? So it's all covered by this predictable life. So I would also say, like, don't be afraid of major change in life. Whatever your journey is in life, you might end up writing some wonderful book wherever you end up, wherever you are. You might end up writing a screenplay it's true introspection and acceptance of yourself is what leads to, I believe, art and some ability to help others, right? Wherever you are. So I will just say about women, just end on this. I was going to talk more about women, but you can imagine it's very scary, somebody with mental illness who is female, because women are now brainwashed that men are all bad. And you think, just like somebody talking about Trump, that most women wouldn't do that, and they wouldn't go really extreme. But what happens with somebody with mental illness? Women have more mental illness than men, and they're trusted no matter what. So she says you did something, you did it. So this is very different than trad wife, feminine. This is not about that. This is like dark human nature. Some people, like, it's you really need to be aware of women. They are terrifying. A woman with a mental illness is a terrifying thing to a man because you have no defense. So the more you understand this, maybe society won't protect yourself, but maybe you will. You can always go to the airport and disappear and never, ever be part of her again. But you better be fucking sure that this is what's happening. Don't be shirking your responsibilities. Don't be leaving 3 kids and making up bullshit. You need extreme honesty to deal with, to implement what I'm talking about. Like you don't come to this conclusion over a cup of coffee or listen to this video. It's going to be anguish and years of talking to friends and thinking and planning, and before you'll be able to make. I believe you should make these decisions. Unless she's chasing you around with a knife, then obviously you need to leave, right?
Then the decision is kind of made for you.
Right, it's easy. It's actually quite easy.
Case is closed.
Yeah, you're like, okay, yeah. It's like this is the easy one. But guys, it is anything I said about men is more terrifying with women. It's more terrifying. And most men have a harder time seeing it in women because most crazy women will make up for it by fucking your brains out.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because they know that's the way that you will not be paying attention to these crazy things because you'll be happy with her overall.
Yeah, and in fact, like, there's this really good, psychologist who does videos on for guys in relationships with, like, basically crazy women, and that type of personality, those kind of girls will in their brain almost think if they fuck your brains out, if they give you really good sex, after a big fight, or if they do something totally insane, that's like it's okay. Like, oh, we made up, everything's fine, it's like it never happened. So you get in this like roller coaster push-pull, these extreme highs and extreme lows, which is you're getting like the best and the worst experiences, and it becomes like a whirlwind, or just like you just can't get out of it, And so, or you start to, and then you get sucked back in with the really good sex. She does something super sweet, or knows how to hit your emotion just right to make you feel like maybe this is the one that really loves me. It's really sinister. So you gotta take this stuff very seriously.
Yeah, but I also want to say too is, like, honestly, good sex is pretty valuable. So she could be pretty crazy, and it does fix things. Like her fucking your brains out does.
It's kind of worth it.
It is. Like for example, I was gonna say. So my friend, the guy, my mentor Don, back in the day, he used to counsel women too, and they would come to him and say, what's the deal? What's bothering you? And she goes, our relationship's going terrible. He's sleeping on the couch, blah, blah. There's all these problems. And he's like, Don would say, okay, cut to the chase. When's the last time you fucked him? When's the last time you gave him a blowjob? And she'd say, well, that's like months ago, but that has nothing to do with it. And he would say, look, go back home, give him 3 blowjobs the next day. In the next day. Come back to me. And she'd say, it's not going to work. These are deep-seated issues, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, well, just go do it anyway. So she goes back, gives the guy free blowjobs, and she comes back, and he's like, so how is it? And she's like, how's what? And he's like, well, the problems you had. He's like, oh, they're all. And she's like, oh, right. She says, everything's fine. So the thing is like, you know, that's kind of what girlfriends do. You know, they fuck you. Other people don't, right? Girls do. And so as long as they do that, they're covering a lot of bases there. So don't be too easy about letting go of crazy woman. I'll stick with a crazy woman longer than some guys might, because I know that they have ups and downs. I allow women to be women. And women are kind of crazy by nature, especially, you know, obviously in period and stuff, right? But just in general. So if you're not afraid and you face yourself and a girl's really fucking your brains out, you know, you're probably going to regret leaving her, and you'll probably go back to her, which is even worse. If you just keep her around, she's not going to be all riled up. Where you start leaving her and coming back, if you're sure you can leave her and you have tons of other girls, then fine. But believe me, sex is a big draw. And especially if she's a really good fuck. You're going to be like, fuck, I got to call her again this one time, you know. And then that will put you on her target list. Because you're playing games. So don't play games. Be very, very sure you want to do something before you leave a crazy woman who's good sex. You know. Because it might not be as crazy as you think. I can handle women's craziness fine. I might kick them out of my house for a while, for a couple of days or a week. You know, like, I might say, hey, look, I'm busy, I can't meet you. And they're like, you're not busy, you're not that busy. But I'm like, no, I'm busy, I got to do this. And then I make them, then they're like, okay, I want to be back. Okay. And then they realize, like a crazy person, like Mary, they realize on a very less level, they would be like, okay, I know what happened. Every time I do this, he's busy. So I'm going to stop doing that when I'm around him. And then the girl will come to me and she'll have self-fixed it. Because I won't berate her. I won't make her feel bad. I won't put her down. I just don't want to be around it. So I'm like, if it's too crazy, I'm just like, no, I'm busy. And I'm not saying, oh, you're crazy. I'm none of that stuff. Those things never come out of my mouth. I just like, no, I don't want to be around that. I'm not into that. And I put a little distance. And after one or two times, they learn. Women are smart. They're like, this guy won't put up with this game. He just won't. So I got to stop this game. And then they'll do something else. And then you won't put up with that. So just know yourself, know your lines. Don't judge people. I'm not judging her. Like I had a woman that was, she was, a lot of people would have thought she was fucking batshit crazy. But man, she was so beautiful. Oh my God. This woman was just, she was so beautiful. It's kind of hard to imagine how she could be more beautiful. Like she would just have her worst day ever, no sleep, no makeup, have taken a shower at night and look at me. And her skin was like perfect. Her eyes were perfect, her teeth. She was just perfect. Like she needed no beauty, anything. All the things they do in beauty is to look like her. Like anything she did would have made it worse. And yet she was batshit crazy. So I think she was kind of like on that crazy hot spectrum. I think that she was not an evil kind of crazy, as long as you knew how to handle her. And this is about managing women, handling women, and managing crazy people, and managing your own craziness, right? And like, she was a great girl. I have good memories of her, you know? And I know in her own way, she loved the shit out of me. Like really, she really did. She fucking loved the shit out of me.
In a weird way, those crazy girls can be some of the best girls.
Yeah.
And the way they love you, the sex, the fun you have together, they can be the coolest chicks, like down for whatever you want, they're down for. And that's actually a really good point that's got me thinking, like learning how to manage them and how to manage yourself and your emotions and your the way you're thinking about things in those situations and with those types of people is really good. Because you do always go back and think about those girls.
Yeah.
Like, I find myself thinking about those girls like, oh man, that was the best. You know, and you kind of wish you could get back to that or still have them around. So getting to a place where you can manage that and understand and handle and know when to leave, but when also you can just, create distance or how to just handle those situations. That's really wise.
Yeah, and I think...
Because they're not all like that. Like, not all girls, not all sex is the same.
No.
It's totally true. Because you know, when you think back, you're like, oh, fuck, that was so hot. It's like, that was a good one, There was really good times with that one, Even if she was insane,
Right? If you live near an Olive Garden and that's the best restaurant that's all you know in life. But if you travel the world and eat and have all these friends that are, really foodies and you taste all these different fish and animals and wild animals and different ways of cooking and raw and just, endless getting invited to wonderful dinners, you will have a broader, more rich view of the world. And that's the way women are too. So as you go through more experience with women, you will be able to spot special situations, and that's the thing. You have a lot of experience, so you can actually say that.
Yeah.
That you say that is good. It's not just what I put up with and it was still pretty good because I'm a man, she's a woman. It's like, no, that was pretty fucking hot, and a lot of guys with experience are going to agree.
Yeah, even the little things.
They're going to nod along they're not very common, but there's some that are just pretty fucking good. They're like, they're down. They're fucking, I think of like Charles Manson's girls, like they'll do whatever for you.
Yeah.
Like they're down with you, like they're with you. They're not against you. They're down with you. And it's like, those girls could be awesome. You're like, they're crazy as fuck, but they're glued on you. Like you're their man, you know what I mean? And they're a powerful thing to have along with you, actually. Those kind of women. Yeah. Once in a while you come across these ones and they're just fucking, it's almost like they're like a robot to make you happy. A perfect AI, it's like, because they love you so much and you accept them and their madness. And there's something about you too together that I think there is something about the two people.
It's like the Bonnie and Clyde.
You're both Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah. You can both be yourself. If you accept her as she is,
Yeah.
she'll accept you as you are. And you can accept parts of yourself even more. It can be a pretty cool experience.
Right. And then you meet other girls and they might say, oh, I don't like this. Or they're just not completely satisfied with you all the time. Those girls, man, they're fucking so happy with you. It's all right. So I hope, and I would venture to say that guys with mental illness might be like her. There are some genius guys who wrote novels, Van Gogh. There are people that were just, like, I would say just because you're crazy doesn't mean I don't like you. You know what I mean? Because I see that some people really do have unique gifts. And those things, you've got to be unusual to have those gifts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're usually smart, for one thing. Usually pretty clever, right? And that cleverness is used with a completely different paradigm of life. And so, I would say don't look at yourself as flawed if you have issues. You know what I mean? Get to know yourself. Maybe you're fucking pretty cool in your own weird way. All right, I'm going to end it on that.